Alright students, in my previous session we understood the chapter of Lost Spring to some extent, wherein we were talking about the stories of stolen childhood, and we understood the story of Sahib-e-Alam, Lord of the Universe, ironically, but unfortunately he is someone who is scrounging something from the garbage pit just to sustain his life. Another thing, even when he is given a chance to work in one of the tea stalls, he is earning rupees 800, yet he is unhappy. And do you know why is he unhappy? He is unhappy because he feels that even if I am earning rupees 800, but now no more I am the master of my own life. Now no more I am the master of my own life. So he feels that my independence unfortunately has got vanished, though he is even asking Annie's Jung. And to Annie's Jung, I hope you know, is the writer, and once when she is moving in and out to check out these families, she identifies that even Annie's Jung is making hollow promises. Hollow promises means once when Sahib says that will you be opening up a school in near future? To this she answers yes. In near future, I will be opening up the school, but in her heart of the hearts, she knows that it is next to impossible for her to open up the school, just like middlemen and sahukars, again a word of Hindi which is used by Annie's Jung in this particular story. She has made some false promise just to finish up the conversation with Sahib, so-called Sahib-e-Alam, Lord of the Universe. Now dear students, quickly let's see some of the important points related to the second anecdote which talks about Mukesh. Second anecdote that talks about Mukesh. Let's see. Now what all things are important for you to know herein is that even the way Sahib has a dream of going to school one day, even he is having a desire. And what is his desire? His desire is to become a motor mechanic. What to become? To become a motor mechanic. Second, where is his family residing? His family is in a place called Firozabad, and this place of Firozabad is famous for something. What is it famous for? It is famous for glass blowing industry, right students? Glass blowing industry. Now we move on to the second part. The second part is talking about workers in industry, right? And where is this industry located? Need not to mention again. Yes, this industry is located in Firozabad. It should be known to you, dear students. Now, how many students are working here? How many students are working here? There are 20,000. Yes, 20,000 children who are working near hot furnaces. Second, unfortunately, barely they are able to have enough food for their survival. You'll also be able to see that they lost, in this whole process, they lost their health as well as their eyesight. They don't have any joy, no joy for them. Tradition. They follow the tradition of same work. So it's all about working. No change is possible. No change possible, dear students. No change possible. This is what it talks about the story of Mukesh. Now let's try to understand some of the important things which I'm going to show you like this. The point here is, where do they find? They find resistance to change. Yes, this is what Annie's junk after interviewing Sahib and Mukesh's family. Sahib and Mukesh are not interrelated. Number one, she identifies. Number one is your poverty and tradition. Poverty and tradition. Number two, she identified that there are certain social forces, and these social forces are of, number one, law. Number two is police. Number three, as I informed you even in my previous session, middlemen. We are identified that there are certain politicians, there are certain bureaucrats, there are certain sahukars, Hindi word as used by Annie's junk. This is the word which is mentioned in your chapter. Then of course, yes, your third point, let me write it C, B here and A part here. Now in C part, you will identify that there are no able leaders who want to come and help them. No leaders to help. They just make hollow promises and nothing more than that. Another thing which you should definitely remember is, last but not the least, children are seen not to study in schools, but children are burdened, and hence stolen childhood, and hence it's all about their stolen childhood. This is where we end our today's class. Just to summarize, I'll just summarize it in such a way to tell you and to make you understand that there is resistance to change, poverty, tradition, and do remember in your examination there may be a question that asks you about why is it not, how will you justify the title Lost Spring? Why not Lost Autumn? Why not Lost Summer? Why not Lost Winter? Well, dear students, I want you to answer this question, but just to give you some key points, I'll explain you. Spring is one season that stands for rejuvenation. Spring is one season when we see lives being blossom. Here, children who are so young, who can definitely give shape to their lives by maybe studying in schools, learning some skills, but unfortunately under the pressure of poverty, they are being exploited by middlemen, by sahukars, by bureaucrats, by politicians. It's all about ill will. It's all about ill will of the people around, and they are being pushed in the same tradition, and that of their family. That is the reason the story of Mukesh, when we see 20,000 students working, 20,000 not students, 20,000 children are working in these hot furnace factories, and there is no respite for them. I hope it's clear to you. One last message: Sahib's story, anecdote 1, Mukesh's story, anecdote 2. Both of them are not interrelated, but they revolve around the same concept of exploitation. These two stories revolve around the concept of poverty, child labor, and the way we are manipulated. God bless you and enjoy your class.